There comes a time in every furniture flipper's life where one of your pieces is just not moving. That happens periodically. It's not a common thing, but when it does happen, it's super, super frustrating. That's exactly what the case was with this green dresser. Yes, this green dresser I already overpaid for. I paid $60 from a thrift store, and ultimately I thought it could sell. I posted it on Instagram. I asked people their opinion, and they said the green was beautiful and that they would pay for it. So I tried listing it as is. I had it listed for $120. It was crickets. Like seriously, nobody was making any offers. I had one person offer $75. Remember, I paid $60. So that's when I knew, unfortunately, I had to get busy and I had to redo this dresser if I wanted to make a decent profit and if I wanted it to sell. So let's go through a few stats on this dresser of how I made it go from this to this. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. Today I'm going to teach you how to paint furniture. I'm going to show you a couple different techniques. So let's cue the footage. So to do this project, we're going to first start by just taking off all of the hardware from this dresser. All you need is a screwdriver for this, so it's really not too difficult. Once we have that done, I wanted to test citrus strip gel. This was definitely not required. I didn't do this on the body of the dresser, but I was really curious how this stuff worked and wanted to test the potency to see if it would save me time. So I applied a very generous coat onto the green paint. It's pretty thick. You can't quite tell, but it is definitely a thick layer. Once you have that done, the key to citrus strip is putting a layer of plastic saran wrap on top of that and letting it sit for a good 24 hours. Once that was done, you can see the paint kind of peels, it bubbles. That's when you know it's ready to be scraped, which is one of the most satisfying parts. Is if you enjoy scraping or peeling things, you're gonna love this stuff because you just take a plastic putty knife or a metal putty knife and you literally just scrape off the paint. And make sure you do this into a metal container because this stuff is very potent and you cannot throw it away. It's not like typical, it's still a chemical, so it needs to be disposed of properly. But you can see this thing is like a jawbreaker. It just has so many different layers, and man, that's one of the things that I thought was really quite satisfying from this whole entire project, which is getting all of this paint off. Then I took my sander and I just really gave this a good coat. I made it all even, got rid of as much paint as I possibly could, just to give us a very smooth surface so we can actually have a new surface and not 9 layers of paint. Then I used a primer. I'm a big fan of the Bin primer. It's by Zenser 123. It's Bullseye primer. And again, to save time, I did not do this on the citrus strip on the body of the dresser. I just really wanted something that was a little bit different. So that's what I started to do. Got a really good coat of primer. I did about 2 coats of this just to give me a good base. Once that was done, it was time to start painting. My go-to paint is by Sherwin-Williams. It's a color called Alabaster. It's like the perfect white and I highly recommend it. So what I'm using is my foam roller to just get a good coat of paint on all of the drawers and all of the body of the dresser. Here's what it kind of looks like. It's really, I mean, that's paint. It doesn't dry any particular way, and I had to do 2 coats on some of these. I had to do 3 coats in order to make it actually cover completely. What I forgot to record was me putting the dresser back together, but essentially what I did was add some gold poles and put it all back together and staged it for selling. Okay, one important thing is I ended up selling this dresser for $175. I had about $10 to $15 of materials. Remember, I buy paint in bulk, like I'll buy a gallon of paint, and so that lasts me a lot of different projects. So it's really hard to say exactly how much paint cost. I also had hardware that I also buy in bulk, so it's a little bit difficult for that one too, but roughly about 30 to 40 cents per knob is what I paid for the circle knobs, and then the longer ones I think were like $1 each. So all in, I had about $15 worth of materials costs. Once I fixed it up and staged it, I was able to sell it again for $175. It took 1 day on Facebook Marketplace to officially sell. A lot of people are curious of how long does it actually take to redo furniture, so let me give you some context. I did this entire dresser in 1 weekend. All in hours, it was honestly probably only 4 to 5 hours of actual work because you have to let paint dry and that kind of stuff, so it's really hard to know exactly how much work, but it really wasn't difficult. So it went pretty quickly, and I would say probably 4 to 5 hours all in. All right, what'd you think? Did you enjoy this video? If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I'm a new channel, so your engagement is so helpful for this channel to get off the ground. It's really tough growing a new channel. I forget how much work this stuff is, but I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this video, then leave a comment below and tell me what were some of the tips that you learned, or what are your favorite furniture flipping tips. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.